Meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. Pledge to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome resident. Roll call.
Mark Foltz.
Here.
Mark Frazier.
Here.
Francis Griffith.
Here.
Troy Carlin.
Here.
Kelly Schmidt.
Okay, Kelly, we're going to add one thing to the agenda, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
What's that? Hall maintenance floor.
No, I was wondering about that. We had it in our box.
What are we adding?
Hall maintenance floor care. You have the quote on your.
You got it.
Hall floor maintenance.
Yeah, the floor maintenance for the hall here, the tile floor. Yeah, that's the only thing we have, I think.
Yep. Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Troy, Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
You should have your January 3rd minutes, the new year.
Motion to approve.
And Mark has read that, and Butch has read that, so Mark and Butch seconded, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public comment? We'll have more time. Sheriff's report.
Looks like last month we had 108 calls for service. Of those, 25 of them were traffic stops. And then a lot of onesie-twosies.
And a couple motor assists for motor assistant. Yeah. That's dangerous, isn't it? Yeah, help them. All right. DDA, we tried to meet. We were in that room back there, and we met for a little while, but not enough members showed up. So we discussed a couple things, and we are meeting, instead of January, we're meeting February, 20, February, Wednesday, February 21st. Yeah, week after the 14th. Okay, we're meeting at 6:30 here, and everybody's coming, except for maybe one person. All right, zoning. Zoning, we had a couple of things, not many. We had here, we had two enforcement issues. One, a house with a bunch of campers around it, and another one, junk and debris. And did you say no building permits, Kelly?
We did not get any new ones, no.
We didn't get any. Okay, so that was a short meeting on that deal, so that's that. That's my part, so.
We don't talk about when we'll go to CISA or not? That's that.
What, you know, CISA. We always do that. CISA. Mark. And then we'll go right into the library.
Well, our staffing on the ambulances has been very strong. We are also in negotiations with some facilities like Pleasant View for possible contracts for transport, which may even cause the need for another part-time rig on the road. But that's good money and it's guaranteed money, so it's. There was officers' elections. I'm no longer vice chair, and there's more than one reason for that, but one of them is that we've never had two from the same community on the executive board, and Troy is now the treasurer, so
Okay.
that was very important to all the board that Troy become treasurer, so.
Great.
So that's going on. We're still trying to get the contract with City of Durand and Shiawassee Township straightened around. Shiawassee Township's got some major messes with their supervisor resigning,
In reality, Shiawassee Township is gone,
yeah.
probably. Durand very much hinges upon the vote on the presidential primary. I mean, their contract is continuing is contingent upon that, and there's been, the board sent a couple an editorial in that was published in the paper.
Yes, they did.
There's been a story in the Argus about it. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't been to Durand to see if there's
Yeah.
any talk or anything about it, but
Our fear is that under the way mutual aid works, that we could end up running in there and taking the majority of those calls with no subsidy from the household, which is a problem, you know, and that's it's just something we're gonna have to address as it gets there. But that's pretty much where we're at with that.
Okay, Maura. Could we go into the library?
Library, there's a fallout from Shiawassee Township, rep to the board for theirs is leaving. They have a new program called One Book Shiawassee, which, as I understand it, and there's a thing in your packet about that.
In the back.
It's about, they get one book, they get a lot of copies of it, and they get it circulated out, so everybody reads it, and then they hear from the author, and the author's gonna be here. Angela Booley, the book is Firekeeper's Daughter, and she's gonna be here, I forget when, but to talk, and they've got a whole lot of other things around it. You know, their programs they do are well received and participated in a lot, so,
In April 13th at the Roboski Center.
yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, and they're doing this in conjunction with the other libraries in the county too, not just this group, so.
Cool. And Patty's reelected. Right. This meeting.
Well, we put it back
I mean, we
in,
put it back.
yeah.
All right, let's see, I-69 Trade Corridor, Troy,
well, our meeting, if we're having one, is next week.
next week.
I haven't heard whether we're having one yet or not.
Mark, back to you, SEDP.
Big thing there is we had officer elections for the executive board. Brian is again the president, and Chad Cushman from Indian Trails is the vice president. Tom Kurtz has taken the treasurer's role because he likes that thing. And I'm the secretary, which luckily we have recording secretary, so all I got to do is sign some papers once in a while.
Oh, okay, so that's good.
Yeah, so that's pretty much, everything else is just kind of,
Justin was out in Arizona?
yeah, Monday for the land bank meeting, he wasn't here because of that. We had land bank Monday. Basically, we're just finalizing up some, when they went to round 3 of the Blake grants and round 4, that involves federal money, it changed the way the applications had to go in, and the state didn't even know it. So the whole thing has gotten a little bit, but they approved all 5 of the projects we recommended, which included one in the village of Morris. It's just a matter of getting the paperwork straightened out. And we're still waiting on money on one of the projects from the first round. And of course, and then we're waiting for some approvals from Eagle, because you got to go through asbestos, or, you know, phase 1, you know, before they will approve
Lead and
it.
asbestos and all that.
You know, so we're waiting for some approvals from Eagle, because they changed the way that happens now. It's more complicated. And then those projects can get bid and move forward. So, and we do have 5 or 6 of those orphan pieces of property the state gave us that, you know, were from lot line chases, you know, 5 foot wide, 100 feet long or something, that we're gonna this spring go back and talk to touching property owners and see if we can find those homes. And we're waiting on some paperwork from the state, those pieces in Lennon that were the window factory that have been changed to residential zoning. When that paperwork all gets taken care of with the state, then we're gonna put those on the market. And we really feel those are gonna become pretty important because of that plant that's going in down by the expressway for the autonomous dredges that They're talking 150 people.
Oh, that's great.
You know, and some of those people are gonna be looking for places to live, so it's,
Mark, for like those onesie, twosie parcels, does the state give you guys any like money to help deal with those, or is that something you just have to deal with?
you mean as far as maintenance and stuff?
Well, or in taking in the, just the getting the paperwork around to get rid of them.
No, they don't help with that, but there really isn't much that we have a cost with.
I mean, because we have a few little onesie, twosies like that around too that, I have on a pile on my desk to deal with. Sometimes when I
basically-
have time, but I mean, we
basically
could give
what
it to
we-
somebody else to deal with.
Basically, what we've said when we have put these things out and somebody's interested in them, we've done what you've suggested in the past here, and that's that
Contact the
they
neighboring
amend-
labor.
They amend their deed to include this piece so that this doesn't show up the next round of,
Yeah,
and we really haven't had any costs with doing that, and we've put the cost for that part of it on whoever gets the property. I mean, and chances are they're using it anyway, so it's,
okay. I was just curious if you had a staff person that was eager to take on stuff like that.
well, Brent's been handling most of that. He's pretty busy, but we're adding another person, like I reported in an earlier meeting, we're adding another full-time person for member relationships and also for looking for new members that we're gonna try to start in April.
You mean the SEP is?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Well, that's the thing is, SEDP is the administrators for the land bank, and that's, they're almost intermeshed, and Brownfield too. Without that, the land bank would be spinning their wheels, because nobody has time to do that stuff.
Okay.
Okay, planning commission.
Planning Commission, we spent our time at this last meeting, like we've been doing, working on a zoning ordinance with the hope that we maybe don't have to use it, but if we do have to, we want to be prepared, because we watched some other communities that weren't prepared and
Make sure the
really
language
created
is
problems.
consistent with.
Well, and got through, came through you, but we got a copy of Owasso Townships, which is quite voluminous compared to the counties. And we want to make sure that there isn't local things.
Being there.
There is some things with this new renewable energy thing that the state passed that we are probably going to have to do at this level. We're probably going to have to pass some kind of ordinance, a CREO they call it, to
We'll wait till the end of the year. See if they get their signatures.
well, and that's so true too, but there is a possibility that we may have to pass them at this level, or we could be subjecting ourselves to the state just doing it all anyway.
Talking about the solar?
Yeah, the solar.
Solar, yeah.
But Beth's staying up pretty good on this, so, she's become our go-to person authority on this.
Well, I mean, the hope is to have in place, if we have to take it over, we can do it quickly.
Right.
I mean, because you never know when that whole house of cards at the county may.
And we can do it organized and not.
Correct.
And not create a mess for ourselves, which is what we don't want to do, so,
Okay. Is that it?
yes.
Is that it? Okay. Okay, Troy, financial report and then the payment.
All right, you've got your bills list in front of you. The expense side, for the credit card transactions, you'll notice there's a couple credits there on Kelly's and mine. We've had points that have been accruing for,
Yeah.
I don't know, 10 years or so apparently. I don't ever remember cashing them in, but, so anyway, those two credits went to the line item for equipment, which is where we bought those two laptops out of.
Oh, yeah.
So that was $600 that came on off that.
That's cool.
So, yeah, no, it was, It was ours to use, and of course, they want to give you
Money we didn't have.
gift cards to whatever and explain that we can't do that as a municipality. It has to go as a bill credit or, you know, something, and so that's what they did. So,
That's good.
what else? So property tax revenue is coming in now. Revenue sharing will be next month.
Next.
Other than that,
Land service.
yeah, in the special assessment fund, there was 2 months of street lights there, because we went 5 weeks here between
Oh,
meetings.
that's right. Okay. Butch, make a motion to pay the bills.
Yep.
Seconded by Mark. Roll call vote, Kelly.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Fraser.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Ray Farmer.
Yes.
Let's see, correspondence.
I had 2 letters. One is from Woodhull Township
Okay.
and one is from Locke Township. They are going to be updating their master plans. So as soon as we get something like that, we'll send it off to the planning commission to review it.
They're both updating their master plans.
More the same, yeah. Master. All right. Anything else? Okay. Public comment. Okay, unfinished business. Hall, the hall door, the little break-in update, Kelly.
Yep, we had a break-in last year, and we just got notice that February 12th, there will be a non-public meeting it's between the prosecuting and the attorney's office and the defense office to see if there's enough,
See if it's ready to go to trial.
yeah, see if it's ready. So,
So they are charging them.
Looks like, and we don't do anything, Kelly?
not at this one, no.
Okay. Right, that was that.
I mean, if it gets further along, I assume,
Something.
why, I would be if anyone's subpoenaed, it would be me,
You
probably.
stumble on it, yes.
So,
All right, okay, new business, we have quite a bit on our plate. And Jim Bayshore, board review resignation, Kelly.
yeah, we received a resignation note from Jim Bayshore. Effective January 3rd, 2024, he would like to resign. He said, "It's been my pleasure to serve in the capacity of chairman the last few years." So we need a motion to accept his resignation.
So moved.
I'll second it. Motion been made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Yes, okay. Board review appointment. Should have a letter in your folder from a gentleman named Tim Waller, Heather Lane and Perry, is serving in the Perry Township as board member. I understand there is an opening on board review. Please consider me. Thanks, Tim.
So he was the guy, remember Larry was telling us about a month or two. I mean, so what caught my eye for him for the board of review is we're really supposed to have a balanced board of review representing different areas. And Tim Place represents the ag interest.
Jim Fletcher.
Dave Fletcher. So Dave Fletcher, when he was originally appointed many years ago, Dave had a printing business and he was on the business side, but Dave's been retired for quite a while. And Jim Bayshore was just kind of the working Joe kind of guy. So Dave fits into that category. This guy is a manager at some sort of automotive facility or something like that. So I mean, business person that has experience in business personal property, which is what we're supposed to have. So,
And it's not like we don't know much about him because he does actually attend church with Tim Place and Larry Place. So I had good review from both of them. So,
no, sounds like a good guy. So this will be a term that will go through next January. Because that's when,
2025.
right, that's when they have to be reappointed anyway.
December 31st, 24 is when that expires.
It's just even years. Or-
They're reappointed on odd years of January.
Right.
Okay.
So it'll be the remainder of Jim's position.
Right.
Make a motion, we appoint Tim Waller to the Board of Review to fill the remainder of Jim Bayshore's term through December 31, 2024.
Troy's made the motion, Mark has seconded it. All in favor?
We need a roll call.
Roll call on that one, okay.
Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes.
Okay. Of course, I'm with the DDA board, the secretary, and I left the papers all night, but Kelly has another copy,
So
so.
we received a request from Brian Fifely and Jill Audia to continue on the Downtown Development Authority Board. They are
4-year terms.
4-year terms to expire March 31st, 2028.
I make a motion, we accept both of their.
Mark has made a motion, I'll second that, just so we've got something in writing from me. Yes,
All right.
all in favor?
No.
Oh,
Mark
roll
Foltz?
call vote again.
Mark Foltz?
Yes?
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
All right, and then Kelly has planning commission appointment, and Dwayne and Walt Saxon, I think is, oh, and another new person. Go ahead. Get done.
Okay, so this will be replacing Sandy's position. Lena Zamora has been recommended by Mark Frazier. And she sent me a letter stating that she was interested in helping our area out in any way that she can. So she would be filling the remainder position to expire March 31st, 2025.
So it gives her a year to see if she likes it.
Yep.
2025.
Yep, and then we have reappointment letters from Dwayne Wood and Walt Saxton. Those are 3-year terms to expire March 31st, 2027.
Well, I will make a motion that we appoint
Lena Zamora?
Lena Zamora to the remainder of Sandy McCulloch's term, and then reappoint Walt Saxton and Dwayne Wood
Okay.
to planning commission.
Troy's made the motion. Bush will second the motion. Okay, roll call vote, Kelly.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Are we going to do something about recording secretary for the planning commission?
You didn't like your interim one?
Well, you'd be fine if you're gonna be there every time.
Jeez, Mark.
What do you recommend?
I don't know. I
He
don't know.
probably hasn't seen the minutes. Have you?
No.
Oh,
Well, if our new one's taking Sandy's place,
I don't know that you want to just throw a brand new person in to be recording secretary. The DDA did that and they chased her off.
uh-oh. I don't mind helping out.
Well, it's just something, maybe we better keep our thoughts on here moving forward.
well, this month he won't be able to because he's gonna have a DDA meeting the same night.
No, his is on
Not
Wednesday.
anymore.
Huh?
Not
This is on
anymore. They're
Wednesday.
not-
Wednesday,
that's
ours is
right.
on Wednesdays.
They're not on the
It's
same.
it's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, just something we should think about. Maybe there's somebody that'll do it, I don't know.
We're struggling to find warm bodies to sit on the board for it.
Pretty good help in it.
It's tough.
Mark is actually very good at minutes. I will say from this board of review minutes.
Did you read the ones I did on the?
No, I didn't, but I read your board of review.
Well, I gave them to Beth, actually, but I had something else for Beth, and she made 2 corrections. She actually, I said visitor, Mark Folks, she marked that out and said, she said recording secretary. And I said, I have to put that, yes, Mark, you gotta put that. I said, okay, so I did change the minutes.
Well, one of the
And
problems,
then Dwayne had the comment, and I had you doing the comment, so I had to change your name and put Dwayne in.
one of the problems is that we paid Sandy $15 to be recording secretary. We're not gonna get
We
somebody.
paid 10 actually.
Yeah.
10, okay,
You're
whatever.
not gonna get much for that.
We wouldn't be able to get somebody to come in and do it for that, so we'd have to make a commitment.
No.
Well, we paid Sandy, right, because she was already on the planning commission, but I mean, we're gonna have to pay someone else, because they wouldn't be getting a
Right.
yes.
Right. I guess that's what I'm saying. is that-
Sure.
And maybe when we do the budget meeting, we should discuss that and plan for it or something.
Okay, let's see, that was the long, no, that's funny. Okay, lawn care agreement, Anthony Carl, okay, no.
Okay, so Anthony Karhoff emailed me a proposal for this upcoming year's lawn care. It's the same, the only difference is it's $25 more for the cemetery.
Oh,
So we would hold a rate for here in the retention and 25 more for the cemetery.
Yeah, so $60 was the same for the hall, 60 for the 2 retention ponds. That was the same as last time. He just increased it from $550 to $575 for the cemetery.
I think we
Did we
finally
solve our problems
got
down there
him
with him?
straightened
I
out.
think so.
I think we got him straightened out.
Yeah.
You were happy with us last year?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have a problem, did you?
Butch, did you see it?
He-
I didn't have no problem.
He finally was.
No, I think he understood us.
Yeah.
No, we didn't, yes, it was not like the year before.
And he would stick his head in about every other time, make sure we're happy and everything, so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, I'll make a motion, we accept this bid, because it's the only bid we have.
To re-extend,
Hey, do an extension,
to
yes.
extend, yeah.
and seconded by Butch. Okay, Mark and Butch. Kelly, we're gonna have another roll call vote.
Francis Griffin,
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Next on our list of things to vote on, MTA Annual Conference and Expo. That's in April.
It is $390 this year, that's the early bird rate,
390,
$390,
390?
And that doesn't include the rooms, right?
correct.
Wow.
That's just the conference. And it's gonna be in Traverse City again.
Where's it at?
Traverse City.
Traverse City.
Oh. When is it? April what?
April 23rd through the 25th.
23rd to the 25th.
Well, I don't want it to
Did
go.
you talk to Tom?
We don't have to
I
do
don't mean Tom,
Oh,
Lindback.
no.
You didn't talk. Do we even want to run it by him?
I know, oh, I guess
Yeah, there's a one-day attorney session.
I can certainly let him know about it. He may go himself anyway, representing other. I'll just give him
He
the courtesy.
represents more than us,
there's.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a business.
I mean, either of you two want to go?
I don't want to go, I don't got time.
You want to go, Butch?
Okay. Well, if none of us are going, it doesn't matter. So,
Should leave
Is
it open
there
for
anything that
if,
we need from them?
You know, one thing
Just
that
having a meeting, no.
One thing that I did see here, there's a conference on demand only.
is that a video thing?
It says access to recording of 10 educational sessions and 3 main stage events available in May. $150 early.
well, that might be worth spending. We just have to do one, right?
I think we could all.
Share it.
Yeah, get around their computer.
Well, they've got some sessions on the renewable energy stuff that.
Well, if we could watch it, yes. I mean, it's just, I mean, by the time we send somebody to Traverse City for 3 days, I mean, this will be $2,000.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, especially the way I eat, you know.
Do you want to just approve maybe the conference on demand?
Sure,
Yeah,
give it
sure,
that.
guys.
Visual on demand.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Mark's going to make the motion, the MTA conference, without attending, but visual
Conference on
on
demand.
demand.
Virtual.
I'll second that.
All right. Kelly, roll call ready?
Okay,
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
yes,
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
we're all in agreement. All right, that's a good idea. Okay. All right, Troy, and we've got 2024, 2025 salary resolution, and Kelly says resolution number one.
Yep.
2024.
I'll make a motion that we make the supervisor's salary $1. And we give the balance to the clerk.
All right.
Big of you, Mark. Let me drink
Your boots?
my glass.
Or raise it.
Toby Keith's
Red Solo.
red solo.
So, yes, we need to do our salary resolutions to be acted on at the annual meeting
Okay.
next month.
Do we have any money?
Hopefully we'll have money coming in next year, right? So, I mean, obviously, we need to take a solid discussion at the clerks. salary. I mean, with all these changes shoved down on us from the state, I would call them unfunded mandates, but I'm sure the governor disagrees. I mean, that, during election times, that has become a full-time job.
And the issue being that this year it's bad because there's 3 elections. Next year there probably won't be any.
Right. There could be 4, they could call something in May.
Yeah.
I mean, and right, but the problem is we're not allowed to pay per diem for those. Yeah, the simple thing would be when they did all this to amend the township compensation statute to say, well, then you can pay the clerk so much extra per election. You can't do that. There was a provision years ago where you could pay the, when they switched, see, going back 25 years ago, we only used to collect taxes once a year.
Yeah.
You know, we only did it in the winter.
That's what they do in Missouri.
Right, and then when we decided we had to have more money and we started shoveling it to the summer, there was a provision for a few years where they allowed that they paid the treasurer extra if he had 2 collections and stuff like that. They should have done the same thing here. They didn't. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, right now, all 3 are at $22,000 a year. I mean, I thought about moving the supervisor and the treasurer to 24 and the clerk to 29 or 30. I don't know.
The thing you have to remember is you can't go back.
Right.
So,
Yeah, once it's there, it's there.
Well, what you can do is if for some reason they change the way that's happening, we could not increase the clerks
that's true.
next year and when we increase the other 2 or whatever, so.
That's,
I mean, because whoever becomes clerk, I mean, has to understand that on even years, particularly presidential years, there's a lot of work. I mean, we will have an August and a November general on even years regardless, and on our presidential years, we have presidential primary. Which, I mean, all day long, we have people come in that check the wrong box. You know, and that takes 10 minutes to fix.
yeah, and now that, you know, everybody's going to be going to permanent ballots, that's just, it's reducing the number of people, the foot traffic that comes in during the election time, which means there's more paperwork part of it to process absentee ballots.
Now, what happens with the early voting is being done at the county level, correct?
Yes.
So are you given a tabulation every day of what those are, or do those ballots come here, or
No.
what happens?
No, and the reason they don't come here is because of FOIA.
Okay,
So she has to store all of that stuff. Each clerk has to be a site supervisor for each election. There's enough spaces that we have to have what Caroline says is skin in the game. We have to go up there and we have to supervise a day of early voting.
okay.
So that would be an additional amount of commitment, you know.
Sure.
That's one thing that the clerks would have to do. But she's got her own team up there that is actually working on that, and they don't tabulate, they close down the polls and they get the numbers secured so that they know how many voters come in on a daily basis. There's poll books set up for 5 or 6 jurisdictions on each poll book. And so the poll books will be suspended, I'm going to say, for each one of the jurisdictions, or each one of the laptops. So there's nothing is closed down, it's just suspended for the night
And secured somewhere, I assume.
and secured.
I mean, the problem would be if you close the polls every day and printed results, what happens if there's only one person from Perry Township that votes on the Tuesday? Because all of that stuff is public, who votes when. Let's say there only one person voted. Well, now if the results are printed, you know exactly how that person voted.
It's a job. Joe.
And still, as it is, if there's only 3 people that vote the whole period,
One lady.
you're gonna
you know.
figure that out.
Yeah, and see, the laptops are live during early voting time. So anybody that goes in, they create a voter history, and then it's immediately taken to the qualified voter file so that we can see here.
So it's recorded.
So if someone goes 9-day early voting and then they come in and say, hey, I want an absentee ballot, it'll show me that they've already been up there voting.
Okay, so there's a check and balance to it,
In theory.
In theory,
and then you get the, at the end of that early voting period, it just adds on to what happens election day, is that correct?
so they are their own precinct. So that precinct up there can't tabulate anything until 8 o'clock on election night.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So they're their own precinct up there, and then we would continue to do this here.
They have to be added together.
Well,
The county has to add
the
it.
county, yes, it would, the votes would be tabulated together, yes.
Because,
It's very confusing because it's new. That was one of the things, we just had a clerk's meeting and she said, she goes, election law hasn't been changed since 1965. And she said, these are huge changes. And the state is behind, you know,
Naturally.
so,
Oh, yeah, there were questions that were answered last 3 weeks ago.
I mean,
Capitol Conference.
well, you have to keep in mind that early voting is new. There's still absentee voting is not early voting.
Right.
You can still vote absentee like you by basically in an envelope, like you've always done. But you also have the option now to early vote where you can actually stick your ballot in a machine.
yeah, so they could take, if I issued them an absentee ballot here, they could take it up to an early voting site and put it in the tabulator up there.
Oh, really?
Yes,
And
and
you wouldn't
the
know.
same here.
And you wouldn't know
If I
that.
issued them an absentee ballot and they wanted to come in and put it in the tabulator on election night, they could come right in and do it.
Okay.
The problem is you have to keep track of all of that to make sure somebody doesn't do it.
Well, it could
2
be
or
hard
3
to
or
keep
4
track of
times.
the number.
It will be hard. I'm still learning it, so,
We'll see how February goes.
yeah,
Add it up now, that,
Couple weeks.
So,
Well, it's just, there's lots of options, right? It's given people lots and lots of options, so if, they should be happy.
So how much does Caroline make?
I have no idea.
Tom, how much does Caroline, how much does the clerk make?
County clerk.
County, roughly.
I don't know, but we had a wage study done and her salary is about 9% below what the other county clerks in counties similar to Shiawassee that were in our wage study, but I don't remember offhand the figure.
so do we do these salary resolutions as separate per position?
Yes.
Okay, so I make a motion that we make the supervisors new salary 24,000.
So is that, what do I get now, 22? Well, you and me for 24. Is that what we did last year, 22?
It's a little more than what we did last year.
Is it?
Yep. Second.
Before we have to do it each still.
Yes.
Individual.
Okay. So Mark's made a motion for
Which
this
second?
one for 24.
Which second?
Seconded by Butch, okay?
Roll call.
Roll call vote, Kelly.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Trey Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes. I make a motion that we make the treasurer's salary 24,000.
I'll second that. Okay. Mark's made a motion, I've seconded it. Roll call vote, please.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Trey Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Now Kelly, question for you. How much do you think the clerk should be for our township?
I don't know. I can't, I don't know. All I know is
It's a lot of work.
it's becoming more than just a 2-day job.
Yeah. How much do some of the other, in some of the bigger,
Probably not anywhere near what this is.
really?
The problem is there's gonna be some huge adjustments this year.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'd like to make a motion for clerk's job if we go to 30,000.
I'll second.
I think 30 or 29?
30.
I'm thinking if,
I'm thinking 30. Because I understand the kind of time she's putting
well,
on
we, wait, oh, yeah.
this. And I think that it would take us 3 or 4 years to adjust back if we
Well,
need to do that in the future, but we can do it that way, so.
Do you think, Kelly,
And I
that if
think
we
that
lose you at the end
I
of the
think
year?
that anybody new that's gonna come in here, it's gonna take a while
You know,
to get,
There's a long learning curve here.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
and it's gonna take a while to do that. They will be here a while. It's not gonna be just 2 days a week. They'll be.
Well, there's, the training curve is pretty steep,
Yes,
The what?
yes.
training curve. But
well, yeah, well,
And when we do the budget, what I'm thinking we do is we take, I mean, we have to approve this, you know, now and at the annual meeting, but when we actually put the budget together, we'll put a portion of the clerk department and the elections department. Right, so the total salary will be 30, and probably we'll break it up just like the rest of ours now and the rest out of the elections department, so we can track that.
and it could be that the state will change things as they realize how hard this job is.
Then I don't have a clue.
Oh, well, eventually they're going to hear about it, aren't they? In all
They don't
these
listen.
Townships in the,
They don't listen, Mark.
I don't know, I will tell you that there are a lot of, I am on a MTA thread, which is, it's basically like a chat room. There are a lot of clerks that are gonna walk away.
oh, yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of turnover this year, I
There
think.
is.
And not
And
just,
and the state knows it.
yeah.
Well, frankly, I think they're kind of half thinking that if there's a lot of turmoil, they get to take the whole thing over.
I
Yes,
think so. I think we're probably right.
I think that's probably the intent.
You mean just remove the elections from
I
their
think
responsibility?
that, I think it's gonna get to the point where it's gonna get so complicated that the county will end up taking it over. And then it's gonna get so complicated that the state's gonna end up taking it over.
I mean, I'm looking at these places like, Punchanagan and, Sheboygan and, different places where they don't have hardly very many. How are they going to find these people? You
I
know?
don't know.
This is similar to what they started down the road with assessing, 4 or 5 years ago, right? They tightened up all the rules and, said, well, you have to be in the office more and all that. Well, there was a lot of concern, particularly up north. They weren't going to be able to find anybody. Oh, and you had to be a level 3 or above for virtually anything. And, you got north of Clare, who,
Yeah.
Yeah. well,
these jobs are super lucrative if you look at any township north of Clare, right? There's county jobs that don't pay that kind of money, and like they said, we're just not gonna be able to get assessors up here. And the whole thought when they did all of that before was there'd been people at the state tax commission that had wanted to move assessing to counties for a long, long time. And that was the hope that we make it so miserable that nobody wanted to do it. Now, that didn't actually happen. We still do it, so. We'll see what happens.
That was my question.
We still need a roll
We
call.
still have to vote on that.
Yeah.
Roll call. Troy Carmely?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes.
Okay. You want to say something, Tom?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I saw you folks at the MTA meeting last night. I just was over at Woodhull Township and talked a bit about that, but you folks were there. I think you're pretty much up to date on that issue, and talked to the sheriff on the issue of dogs, which I just talked to the sheriff, and apparently he has an agreement now with Genesee County for animal control, that because the Humane Society here with whom we had a contract up until now, wanted, they wanted about double, about triple what we had been paying. And they brought it up after our budget had already been prepared. So
That's
the
a
sheriff's in charge of.
That's a real hardship on citizens, though.
Well,
If you got a dog that was picked up, you know, that you need to go get,
yeah,
to get into Genesee County, if you work a job, it is very, very difficult. Their hours are very restrictive, and that is going to create a lot of problems for a lot of citizens of this county. And I would urge the county commission to find a different way to get this thing taken care of, because this is not good.
well, there was an effort to reach an agreement with Ingham County. There were objections to that because of distance, but, yeah.
Maybe the solution is to go back to running their own building again.
Well, that was around 500,000 a year.
I don't know.
Yeah,
All I'm
that's-
saying is
Yeah.
that we already are creating a situation where a lot of dog owners aren't gonna license their dogs this year because of having to go. The only place you can buy a license now is at the treasurer's office. And that's a real pain in the butt to get through the metal detectors and to get there in the hours to, you know, for a lot of people. And I hear a lot of people say, I'm just not gonna bother to license it. So now we're gonna have more dogs picked up for no license, taken to Genesee, and now they gotta find a way to get there to get them. This is, you guys on the county commission didn't do your job with this. I'm sorry.
Well, my impression is that the Humane Society came to us after we had
Well, that's fine, but the
developed.
budget, why did the budget committee notice that that was missing and address it? And
It
find
wasn't
out what-
missing, it was there, and then they said, we gotta double it. We met the doubling, and then they said, no, it's gotta be double that. It went from 20,000 to 40. We
All I'm
came up-
saying is they need
We
to
came
look
up
at
with
this.
40,000, then they said, oh, that's not good enough, we gotta have 77,000. And here's the way I feel about it. State law requires us to impound the animals for a certain period of time. The Humane Society, they have that, the reason they exist is because anything beyond what the state says, they can keep those animals, give the people the chance to come and get them close to their home. So that's why the Humane Society exists, and that should be the answer. I know they rely on, they've got to get donations, but that, you know, nonprofits exist principally to take the burden off government. Government gives them certain breaks so that they will take on certain responsibilities that government therefore won't have to do. I think we did do our job because as a commission, the issue was not even brought up to us until we already had a budget. And then the Humane Society people, they lose their director, went to, I think she went to Ingham County, and then they bring it, and then we negotiate with them, we raise it to meet their first demand, and then they double their demand again. I mean, it's very difficult to deal with.
Well,
that, so.
it's just two hits against the dog owner. It's very difficult to get a license now, and this is
I
gonna
am
create a.
told, Mark, that the treasurer, just today, I was at the leadership meeting, she says they've come up with a system whereby people can, as long as they have a rabies certificate, and they can mail that in, and that they can deal with it. And they specifically said, a lot of people from Perry don't want to go all the way into Owasso, and that's understandable. But so they can do it by mail
Okay.
now. So I think that issue has been addressed. And I do think those folks are entitled to some kudos for trying to work out a way to deal with, for you and I, probably driving into Wausau is no big deal, but for a lot of people,
Yeah.
it is burdensome, no question about it, but it's, the thing's getting constricted. But I was not happy with the way, from my perspective, with the way the Humane Society went about it when we met their first demand, so to speak, and then they double it again. I mean,
Okay.
you know, in business, that's not a good way to do things. But.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I kind of felt, I ran into the same thing over in Woodhull, but there's no sense in me trying to avoid the issue. I didn't have to bring it up, but I do know that it's something that causes concern for you folks too, because you're gonna hear from people that are just.
People have not been happy
discontented.
about the change on it. And again, my concern is, I'm curious to see what the dog license revenue numbers do March 1st when we close it out.
It's anticipating that they're not gonna do real well.
Well, I mean, because people are just saying, screw
Yeah.
it, I don't, and yes, Julian said you could do it by mail and stuff, but, we take a lot of taxes by mail, we take a lot of people who come in the door and pay them. It's just the way they do it, and, right, I mean,
Well, a lot of people used to be able to do it when you took your dog in.
To the
yeah,
vet.
the vets did it.
Yeah,
But the vets,
yes,
that's what we used to.
And I'll be honest, I mean, there could have been some better planning on how that all went down, let's just put it that way.
I have a question. Does each department set their own hours as far as lunchtime? I mean, how, people going up to get dog licenses or going to the treasurer's office or the clerk's office or whatever, they close down for that hour. A lot of people, from noon to 1, a lot of people go and try to do their
Things
running.
on their lunch hour.
on their-
Yeah. So I'm curious to know if they're set by, maybe if they could
Yeah, then when
stagger
they
their
close at
lunches
4.
or something like that.
I think each of the elected officials get to set their hours,
I don't know, that was just a question, but.
But as far as the license, a lot of counties have been that way. I know.
Well, I don't disagree that a lot of counties have been that way, but I mean, that's not what, my fear is we're gonna see the dog license revenue
way
drop. And then that,
Requirement.
it's
for
it's expensive to license a dog here, and I mean, it's, yeah.
Now, Gladwin, you could do it online.
What, say it again?
Yeah.
Where?
Gladwin County.
Oh, Gladwin. Oh.
The trick has always been you have to deal with the rabies, and we're
Yeah,
supposed to
I
verify.
think it's a public health, the big issue is public health and the impact these animals have, public with rabies and a danger to the public from a kind of rogue animal or something, and that's why it goes to the sheriff.
Yeah, well, and see, we went through a whole, I mean, I was the only one that would have been here. Last time when the county closed down its animal shelter, and there was a big hub to do about that. And the question is, okay, what does all the dog license revenue go to if we weren't gonna have a animal shelter? Because for a year, they didn't have anything. And then they got to deal with the Humane Society and all that. And, that's just a fair enough question to people say, well, what am I paying for?
Yeah, I think that was a good plan to go to the Humane Society because they're local and they're organized to deal with animals that are abandoned or whatever. But the county, under the law, our obligation is for a limited period of time. And my understanding, I was not there for the previous vote when all that went down, but our obligation is limited that we can recover for. And so it's unfortunate for people that have to go a greater distance.
So is the money that's collected then, is that going to the sheriff's budget to pay for that coordination with Genesee County?
I don't know that those specific funds are, but we do cover the sheriff's cost for doing it. I mean, I don't know the exact accounting.
Sure.
on
The
that.
animal
I would
control
presume-
officers within the sheriff's budget.
Yeah,
Well, it's gonna be more money now if they gotta haul the dog over to
Oh,
Genesee
yeah,
County.
right.
I'm just warning you, sometimes dog things can all of a sudden be a hot button issue. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
they last when the county did this 10, 12 years ago, it flared things.
yeah, I remember that. And I remember a phone call I got not too long ago over it from a local person. So yeah, it still is capable of flaring, but I think you folks understand, because you're directly involved oftentimes.
Yeah, okay, sorry. We didn't mean to hold up your entire report talking about the dogs.
Anything else, Tom,
Uh,
on your report?
You guys were there for
Oh,
last
yeah,
night's.
yeah.
To me, that's the real big issue. No, I guess that's
That's
all.
about it? Okay. Okay, back to our annual meeting, hearing date and time set, March 6th, 2024 at 7, right?
7 o'clock?
Our next meeting.
Yeah, at the next meeting.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yeah, because it's the annual meeting and because Kelly has to
I'll make a
post it for
motion.
the,
Second.
Mark will second. Okay.
Budget hearing.
All in favor?
Who made that motion?
Yes?
Mark made the
did.
motion, I
And
second.
Mark seconded.
Mark.
Mark.
Okay.
Budget work. So, budget work session date and time. We looked at February 13th, 2024. We didn't know the time, 6:30 or 7, Mark.
What's that?
For our budget workshop next week, be the 13th. Is that going to be okay?
Yeah, that's okay, and it said 7 in the
7,
message.
we said 7.
Is that
We
okay?
talked about 6:30 or 7, whichever one.
7 is much better
Seven?
for me,
Seven,
but
okay,
whatever
7.
you guys need.
So 2:13 at 7.
Okay.
Is that okay, Butch?
Yep.
Okay. Troy? Kelly?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll have it,
I'll make a motion that we have it
okay, Kelly?
on
Okay.
February 13th at 7 p.m.
Seconded by Mark. All right, check. Now we got the
You
2024.
gonna vote on it, or you just
Oh,
gonna blow
all in
through it?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Butch? All right, okay. 2024 poverty exemption income guidelines and asset tests, that's her resolution number 2 for 2024. Right?
That's based on the federal one, is that right?
It is.
Right. So one person is 14,580. Any additional persons are 5,140. I did contact Tina and asked her if the asset tests and any of the other paperwork that we had to fill out for the poverty exemptions, if we needed to update anything, she said no, she thinks we're okay, so.
It's the income numbers change every year.
They do, yeah, but I meant like the format of
Yeah.
the asset test and that sort of thing.
All right, we were told we were too mean a couple of years ago.
By,
The state.
Oh, the state.
Remember when we had our
yeah.
AMR review, they said we were too mean. Okay, well, I will make a motion that we approve the 2024 poverty exemption income guidelines and asset
Troy,
test.
okay.
Second.
Second by Mark, okay.
We need a,
Roll call vote, Kelly, one more time.
Troy Charlie.
yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes.
Okay, the additional one we added was the hall before care.
Yes.
Hall care.
Just make me a copy.
So, Foster's did the floor, and they give us this optional, this clean and scrub, restore pads and miscellaneous stuff, they call it. So it looks like it's approximately $600. Well, without the sales tax, $567.
So we had the floors done, I think September, or it was August, I think, August of 22.
22.
So
Right, when we redid it, they wanted us to wait a year.
So so they put a 5-year finish on it, but, we don't have to do anything with the finish. This is just a scrub and polish, basically, just to bring the floors back up to their sheen.
And normally we would do this in March.
Right.
That's when we're
March or
done,
April, yeah.
when we're slow.
Right, when there's not many hall rentals, so.
So I'll make a motion, we approve up to $600
That's
to the
exactly
maintenance
what I
on the
told
floor.
her we were going to do. That's good, Mark. Okay. Mark made a motion not to exceed 600. I'll second that. 'cause-
No, Butch
Oh,
already
Butch,
said.
Butch seconded
You
that.
quit talking and listen.
My good ears.
Yeah, that's a good ear out there, yeah.
All right, Mark and Butch seconded it. Okay, roll call vote, Kelly.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffith. Kelly Schmidt, yes, Ray Farmer.
All right, anything else? Kelly?
I don't think so. This is just a side note. I had, sent out a couple emails requesting, bids for the camera systems. And one guy came out, and he's the one that told me that it'd be about $4,000,
It's for what now?
the
Cameras.
cameras.
Oh, the camera, right.
Well, the $4,000 that he was talking about was just for the equipment. The labor was another $1,920. So the total bill was $6,329. And the other people that I reached out to haven't even called me back, so
Wow.
that's just a FYI.
Side note.
Information side note, yeah.
We are covered for what we legally need to do.
That's right,
Right now.
right now.
Okay.
I sit at home all night long and watch the ballot box.
So you're on hold. That's on hold, right? Kelly?
It is until I get, somewhere.
Any more public comments?
Yeah.
Anything?
Make a motion, we,
Mark? Adjourn?
yes.
What time is it?
Who seconded it?
Butch?
5 a.m.
I don't know.
What time is it? 8?
8:05.
8:05, 8:04? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay, we're good.